I have watched a lot of anime, so it follows that I would be well too familiar with the tropes or recurring elements in an anime. I've watched countless worst anime tropes videos, but I've never seen a video about the good ones. It's probably because the internet is too busy being negative all the time. No kidding either. I literally searched up the best anime tropes, and I got videos related to the worst anime tropes. Like, come on bro, how's that even possible? Nevertheless, today I have here a collection of some of the best anime tropes out there. Yeah guys, I'm being different from everybody else. Subscribe to your boy. Anyways, we're covering the tropes that people look forward to when watching an anime. Ones that either always get a laugh out of people, get people hyped, or people like for whatever other reason. Good. Also, I'll list out multiple examples of anime where these tropes can be found. Without further ado, starting us off for our list is when Japanese characters, or characters that speak Japanese in their anime, speak English in a Japanese accent.
I am a scientist. It's so cool. Son of a bitch.
Everyone, have a nice day. Have a nice day.
The two examples I gave you were from Steins Gate and Little Busters, respectively. Both animes are really good watches that I would personally recommend. Steins Gate is a bit slow though. There are also a lot of Japanese English moments in JoJo's. There's a whole video about that, by the way. I don't know exactly what about this trope I love so much, but I just do. Maybe it's just people trying to speak a language that they don't know that gets me. It's such a good and underrated trope. Like, comment below if you also love this trope. I absolutely adored the baseball episodes in Akiba Maid War, BNA, and Samurai Champloo. Add our characters whom we got to know and love and put them in an entirely different environment. It works because they act exactly like how you'd imagine them to in a baseball setting. It also helps that the people that they were playing up against were intending to play unfair, so the main characters fight back, and then it turns into an insane brawl. And also, I'm not even into baseball, so that's how you know this trope is goated. Also, this one's not an anime, but The Boondocks has an episode with the main cast playing kickball, or softball, I don't really know, which has a pretty similar style to the baseball episodes. Honestly, more anime need to do this trope, man. Not to say that I look forward to main characters being dead after the conclusion of their story, but when a main character does die at the end of their story, it makes the ending that much more meaningful and unforgettable. 3 anime that just came to my mind are Akudama Drive, Happy Sugar Life, and Cowboy Bebop. Yes, I know that the creator of Cowboy Bebop has never confirmed that Spike was dead and it should be left up to interpretation, but basically everyone has reached a consensus that he did die, and if you watch the last episode of Cowboy Bebop, then you would be convinced that he dead too. I guess it's also a Dragon Ball, but Goku comes back to life anyway, so who cares? The main character, the character that we've been getting to know and maybe love, the characters that the story's been revolving around, the character whom we think of whenever the show they're from is brought up, dying at the end of the show can lead to one of the most heartbreaking or devastating endings of all time. Of course, it has to make sense in order for it to be as impactful as I'm hyping it up to be. Like, for example, name me one person who felt sad for Makoto Ito at the end of School Days. He was already an unlikable character who honestly got the easy way out. He should have gone through much more before his death. Imagine having to pay to watch School Days. So yeah, this trope, actually this can go for any trope, is great, but only when done right. Hey, hey, I ain't gonna say nothing, you know what I'm saying? Okay, next up for real though, is a trope that's specific to anime with characters that are of like multiple different species. Mainly what this is referring to is characters that are animals with a human-esque figure. Most anime with these type of characters often forget to treat them differently and they just come off as just like another human character but with an animal body. Like occasionally they'll try to make them like seem like an animal by giving them animal traits, like if somebody is like a cat girl or something, they'll make them like afraid of water or something, but generally they treat them the same as a human, which I don't really like. When they're treated differently, however, they feel more special. And real quick, let me just get this clear before people get the wrong idea. Some people have probably already got the wrong idea, but before I say anything, listen up. By treated differently, I'm not implying racism. That's not what I'm trying to get at all. By treated differently, I mean the characters act and behave in ways that a human wouldn't act or behave without people thinking they're weird.
Bro, what the f
For example, in the isekai anime, The Dungeon of Black Company, probably my favorite isekai of all time, we have this dragon girl named Rin. And from her introduction, it's obvious that she's not normal. She not only looks different with those giant horns and large tail, but she also eats a lot compared to the other humans around her. She's clueless about society and the concept of clothes, or anything really, among other things that differentiate her from the humans. She feels different from humans in basically every way, while still keeping a human form. She doesn't act like a human because, well, she's not a human, and she's not treated as a human either. She does learn about human life, but still keeps relatively true to her core character as a dragon at heart. This trope is so good because it makes the world of anime feel so much more diverse in a sense that there's always more to learn about. Absolutely brilliant. When done right, obviously. But the amount of hype when this happens is absolutely immaculate. There's a bunch of instances of this in numerous different anime, but the one that immediately comes to mind, to me, is at the end of episode 7 of Kill la Kill, where immediately after Ryuko destroys Mako's 2-star Goku uniform, the outro music plays. The episode in general has got to be like one of my favorite anime episodes ever. Anyways, this trope is great and we love to see it, especially if the song is a banger. After having watched so much anime, not many of them catch my attention all that much anymore. So whenever I find an anime that looks different, it sticks with me. Shout out to all them Ranking of Kings, Made in Abyss, Kaiba, Beastars, and Ping Pong the Animation for having their own style of character designs. The reason why the differing art styles stick out so much is, well, because they're different. It gives these animes their own identity, their own vibe, their own style. It shows that the animators are willing to take some risks to make their anime stand out, and honestly, I have nothing but respect for that. Also, JoJo's goes under this category since the art style in that anime is one of the most popular art styles out there. It's literally a meme and has been ever since Part 3 came out. The training arc. Not really much out there matches the pressure applied to the main cast, knowing that some serious event is going to unfold and in a set time, and seeing them train their skills to prepare for a said event. Example of this can be found in Part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, with Joseph and Caesar climbing that big oily pillar, and in Yuri on Ice, with Yuri practicing his dance for the ice skating world tournament. It just makes the actual event that much more hype. We get to see how much the main character, or main characters, train and practice for this event to finally watch the event unfold. It's just such a cool trope that's awesome in like every single way. You're probably looking at this one like,
bro, what the hell is this? Boy, anybody here know genre deconstruction? Are we just making shit up?
Or maybe you already know what this is and I just made fun of you, and if I did, no offense. I wasn't trying to be mean. Anyways, genre deconstruction is basically taking a well-known genre and seeing how that kind of thing would fare in the real world, and how much more daunting the world feels compared to others of that same genre. I just described Madoka Magica, the anime that I was going to use as a primary example of this trope. The anime is really good, especially for people who don't watch shoujo anime, like me. What, do I look like a young girl to you? Anyways, there are other examples of genre deconstruction in anime, such as Neon Genesis Evangelion and One Punch Man. You come into it thinking that it's going to be another anime of whatever genre, only to be surprised by just how different and unique it actually is. The reason why Black Lagoon is one of my favorite anime of all time is because the characters actually feel like real adult people at times. The way they converse with each other, the type of jokes they make, and most impressively, this scene where Rock walks in on Revi while she's barely clothed and asleep. Instead of doing the same thing that generic, ballless main characters do when they see a girl with less clothes than usual, you know, he just wakes her up casually and tells her, yo, we got a mission to, come on, wake up. Bro, we need to see more characters acting mature and like real adults in anime. As for other examples, we got Berserk, only the 1997 anime adaptation is good though, Scum's Wish, and Monster. This one's specifically talking about anime that aren't about music but have an episode that generally revolves around music. The best example of this by far is the Space Dandy episode, Rock and Roll Dandy Baby. Episode 7 of Season 2 of Space Dandy. Arguably the best episode in that anime, and one of the best episodes in all of anime. This episode is about Dandy and his gang meeting some new guy, and after befriending him, forming a band. They proceed to only perform one song, and It's called Lonely Night, and it's honestly one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, not even in anime, just like, I have it on my playlist. The song probably only hits as hard as it does because of the build up to the song. Like, if I never watched Space Dandy and listened to the song, I'd probably think it's mid. When I say their performance was a different level of hype, I bloody mean that with all my soul, but that performance was so fire. You see what I did there? This trope is here for basically the same reason as the baseball trope from earlier. As for other anime that have this, to be honest, I couldn't find any. There are many other anime out there that have a bunch of fire-ass music in them, like Samurai Champloo or Megalobox, but none that I can think of an episode that revolves around music in a non-music anime. Immediately that comes to mind upon the mention of this trope was part 4 of JoJo's. Okay, I know it feels like I bring up JoJo's all the time, but like, just bear with me on this, alright? In the beginning of part 4, Okuyasu is introduced as some throwaway villain, but after the first fight against him, he befriends Josuke and becomes the main character. He was still kind of a dick, but he's on the good guys team now. He does eventually become more friendly with the main characters and goes from a partially good guy to a straight up bro before you even realize it. The reason why this trope works so well is because the protagonist and the antagonist seem like they never get along, but get along anyway somehow. Their character dynamic changing as the story goes on just makes the former antagonist that much more special and likable as characters. For other shows that do this trope, we got Gurren Lagann with Viral, Kyokara Orewa with Nakano, Mob Psycho 100 with Teruki, Dragon Ball Super with Frieza, for like one arc, and One Piece with Robin and Frankie. This one's basically the anime equivalent of when Spider-Man stops making jokes when fighting an enemy, or when Skips, the character who's known for skipping everywhere he goes, starts walking. I think we can all agree that one of the most hype moments in anime history is when Rock Lee took off his weights while fighting Gaara in Naruto. Not only did he take off his weights, but he also uses his 5 gates transformation, which is added to the already immense hype. Other examples of characters snapping / going all out are Shichika from Katana Gatari, David from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and Gabimaru from Hell's Paradise. The fact that it's not normally how they act is what makes it so unique and stand out. Like, if a character was always snapping at every single fight ever, then they probably wouldn't be as interesting or as memorable as these examples. I don't know about you guys, but I just love it when main characters are like total delinquents or different in like a punkish way compared to everyone else. Like, you know, the characters with like their hands in their pockets. This one goes out to all my unruly and badass characters like Ryuko, Gearless Joe, Mitsuhashi, Kiritsugu, Jotaro, Onizuka, and Kamina. Actually, Simon is the main character of Gurren Lagann, but Kamina is the character that everyone remembers first anyways. I love a main character with their own unique style and personality, and my favorite style and personality is the badass style and personality. Of course, a character being a badass isn't the only requirement to make them a favorite of mine. Like, for example, an overpowered self-insert main character from a power fantasy doesn't interest me because they're self-interests. They're not supposed to have a personality. They don't have any interesting characteristics besides their strength. They don't have the spunk to them. They don't have that cool factor. Actually, they do, but they try too hard to be cool, which makes them come off as corny to me. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Sung Jin-woo. Lastly, we have the villain groups. It just gives certain villains much more of a feeling of importance or aura whenever they appear on screen. Some of my favorite villain groups are the Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter, the Blackbeard Pirates from One Piece, the villain organization from My Hero Academia, I don't know their name or if they even have a name, and my personal favorite, the Akatsuki from Naruto. The Akatsuki is probably the most iconic villain group in anime, besides like, what, Team Rocket from Pokemon? we got a bunch of, you know, cool and lovable characters here, such as Pain, Kisame, Deidara, Sasori, and the one I think we can all agree is the best one, Itachi. Like what do you want me to say, bro? The guy's just too cool, bro. Also, the Akatsuki helps make characters like Heidan and Kakuzu be more memorable and intimidating solely because they're members of an overarching and mysterious villain group. Like, if they weren't Akatsuki members or just some throwaway villains, then I can assure you they would be in that who category of characters that most people who finish the show don't remember. Not to mention, the Akatsuki robe is such a simple and clean design. Like, if I saw someone dressed up like any other anime villain, I'd look at him weird, right? Like, why you dressed up as that, right? But like, if they were to show up like casually roaming around in an Akatsuki robe, that would be like, shee! Also, the Akatsuki theme is pretty dope, I ain't gonna lie. So in conclusion, anime has a bunch of good and bad things about it. There may be a bunch of bad and generic anime or good anime that suffer from many tired out cliches and stupid tropes, but if you dig deeper, then you'll find a whole goldmine of underrated works of art that have their own style of comedy, storytelling, and tropes. These anime may not be perfect or all that well known, but it means something special to those who do know them. The tropes I listed in this video are not necessarily perfect, but can make a show way better if done right. These are just my personal favorites, but what do you guys think are some good tropes that I missed? Make sure to leave your comments below. I'll be reading those. Anyways, I ain't got much else to say. Thank you guys for watching, and that's basically it. See ya!